In this video, I'll be showing you the exact process that I use to reach my goals in half the time and triple my productivity. In this short video, I'll be showing you the 5-step system that I use, which are simply just a list of do's and don'ts that you can implement in your daily life. First do on this list is make your goals extremely specific. So this one seems pretty self-explanatory, and most of us would be, say, oh duh, right? That makes sense. But a lot of times we're not very specific with ourselves. We have a goal and we're not very specific of how we're gonna get it. But this point is simply put to say 2 things. 1, you need to know where you are. And 2, you need to know what you want. If you don't know where you are, and if you don't know where you want to be, there's no way you can practically and sustainably, let alone effectively, reach that destination, right? I mean, if you don't know where you are, there's no way you can tell where to go or how long it'll take you to get there. So, number 1, make your goals extremely specific. Next point on the list is break it down into baby steps. And this point is where it is on the list for a very specific reason, because as we mentioned in the last if you don't know where you are, you can't know what you want. And that applies for everything. I mean, if you're on a car trip, you don't know where you're starting, there's no way you can possibly know how long it's gonna take you to get there or how to get there, right? You have to know where you are to know where you wanna be. So, for this point, it builds on that. Once you know how far away you are from your destination and exactly the route it'll take to get there, or not exactly the route, but once you know point A and point B, you can establish the baby steps along the way to reach that point B. So simply put, this step is saying to break down your goals into small, attainable steps. And it doesn't matter if this marathon of a goal is broken down to inches of steps or miles. It depends on the goal and it depends on how hard it is to reach. Our first don't on the list is don't become paralyzed by analysis. An easy loop for me that I've been stuck in before is paralysis by analysis, right? I'm someone who likes to learn new things and accumulate new knowledge and learn things before I have to jump into them typically, and try to mitigate as much pain or loss as possible. But for this step, there's really only so much planning you can do before you actually jump into the scary cold water that is, in this example, self-improvement or reaching your goals. And to not allow yourself to get stuck on every detail and get stuck in the pursuit of perfection rather than learning to start. And learning from your failures can oftentimes be the best teacher rather than research from someone else's experience. The next and final don't on this list is don't make the goals about other people. And what I mean by this is practically 2 things. Number 1, if your goal is entirely dedicated and motivated by trying to get revenge or showing other people that they're wrong and that they doubt you, that's not necessarily the best place to be for a lot of reasons. But number 1 is that motivation wanes very quickly, and that's not the right place to be motivated anyways. The right place to be motivated is from internal factors. Those are much less likely to change than external factors around life that you can't control. On days that life is hard and that external motivation is gone, you're not gonna have the motivation to work anymore or to work on your goals. However, if it's based on you and what you want, it'll be much easier to obtain. And number 2, the second point being, don't go around telling everybody your goals, right? I mean, if you go around telling just every friend or every acquaintance you have, like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna do this for New Year's, chances are you're gonna eventually run across somebody, if not everybody, they just don't tell it to your face, that doubt you. And eventually that doubt that they have will catch up to you. And that negativity, if you let that into your life and you care too much about what other people think, they'll eventually drag you down too. The final and potentially most important do that you have to make sure you do is do ask yourself why. And going off of the last point I had here, you need to make your goals about yourself. I don't mean that in a selfish way either. I'm just saying that if you don't know why you want the goals that you do, it's gonna be much harder to determine how to get them, let alone if you actually want them. For instance, a person might have a goal of being a millionaire, or being rich, or having this or that, or graduating college and getting this degree. But chances are, if you never take the time to examine it and question yourself why you want it and what the goal really is practically and how it would affect your life, chances are you're not going to be terribly happy with that goal once you get it. And you need to ask yourself, like the last step, what is the reason you want it? Is it just to make yourself feel better about yourself? Or is it a goal to change yourself because ultimately you feel inner hatred? Or is it a goal to improve yourself because you're trying to love yourself in a new way? And those are just some examples.